The one thing that they talked about with Friends specifically was this similarity, and even like so the girl Kim Coles was talking about it and stuff, and it seems like they're like very aware of it, like, but nothing really ever gets brought up about it. It's kind of crazy.
Happened in the 90s.
Me.
Yeah, man. So we're going to be talking about an iconic show from the 90s, Living Single. And, you know, I'm sure over the years, man, you've heard the comparison to Living Single and Friends, and the resemblance is uncanny. I feel like it was just completely bitten off the concept, man.
It's hard not to say that. Kendra and I were actually talking about this today while we were walking our dog, and
Yeah.
this the only thing that she brought up as a possible like something that you could call a difference, like if you're trying to make like a Vanilla Ice excuse that it's not complete copyright infringement.
Yeah.
She said, you know, Living Single focused more solely on the chicks. Like they were the main. It was a group of girls that were the main focus of the show. Obviously, Overton and Kyle were there too, but mainly it was the four girls. And Friends gave you like as much of the guys as the chicks in that respect. So I agree with her in that respect a lot, but at the same time, it's when you're bringing up the similarities, it's like, all right, it looks like you looked over the shoulder of whoever wrote in Living Single to make Friends and just made it white people, you know?
Pretty much. And it came on a year after Living Single debuted. The creator, Yvette Lee Bowser, it came from her experience. She created Living Single, and that's why Khadijah and Synclaire had so much depth. Really, I think all the characters had more depth than Friends. And I've never even seen Friends, but from what I know from the fanfare that they do have, it just seemed like they kept running that same mill. Like Joey just gets stupider and stupider. There's no growth, there's no depth.
You know, I'm sure somebody that watched the show could argue about that, but I agree with you, and I think that also sort of the friendships seem more natural. Like even in the first episode that we're talking about, there's some moments that they show where just like it almost is like somebody just turned a camera on, just like people hanging out. Whereas Friends, it was just like you said, it was like overproduced bits, repeat bits, doing callbacks and stuff. And I might be one of the few 40-year-old white guys to say it, but I prefer in Living Single. I preferred in Living Single, and I never even really liked Friends that much. Obviously, we all tuned in to like those can't miss moments that got over advertised, and we all know a little bit about the show, but my opinion's the same as yours. You know, I saw it, I get it, not my thing.
Yeah, I know very little about that show, man. I just from the stuff that I hear when I'm watching these recaps of decade shows and stuff like that, when they bring up those big moments or whatever. Smelly Cat, I know about that. I think Magnum PI showed up on an episode. Isn't he somebody's dad, or he was dating?
I think he was dating one of the girl, maybe Jennifer Aniston. I don't know, but he was definitely a love interest. Which shout out to them for doing that. Tom Selleck, I love a nice mustache, so cool on you for that. But you know, I actually was watching. They have it's like a little mini series, or maybe it was just a documentary about the sitcoms, like the history of sitcoms. I forget what it's on. I need to give it a shout. I think it's on Hulu. Might be Max, but they talked about this extensively. And the one thing that they talked about with Friends specifically was this similarity, and even like so the girl Kim Coles was talking about it and stuff, and it seems like they're like very aware of it, like, but nothing really ever gets brought up about it. It's kind of crazy, but it's just a good. It really is a good. It's like a universally good show. You know, it's not just you can't just have like some things are good for just girls to watch mainly, or you know, but this is one of those that if you give it a chance, you know, I know four girls living in New York and stuff. Maybe we're not supposed to watch it, Steve, but it's really good, and it's got one of the best theme songs of all time as well. It's up there.
I mean, there are a couple sitcoms that were made with 4 girl main characters. Golden Girls, I
Yeah.
enjoy that. Girlfriends, enjoy that. And like doing this show, I actually appreciate Sex in the City. Like,
I'll give it.
hey,
I will say that my opinion of that show has raised considerably from fuck
yeah,
that show to it's actually pretty good. Like that's really
like,
it's definitely it's not bad. You know.
like, like I get it. It lasted 6 seasons, and it's like I understand why people have an affinity for this show now, man, because they took that TV trope of the foursome, the girl foursome, and I always appreciate when people go into the history, do their homework, and apply these things that work, these methods that work, man. And I feel like they did that with that show, with all of those shows, man.
I mean, they definitely, if you look at the girls and like just like the personalities, you do see a lot of Golden Girls in Living Single, you know?
Exactly.
And they're back and forth and the little problems that they have with each other and stuff. There is a lot of, there's a lot of Blanche and Regine. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Rose in Sinclair. So,
Yep.
and, I could keep going, but, yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. A show involving 4 women living together, I'm in because it worked twice, at least for me. So you might be onto something, Steve.
Man, shout out to all those shows, man. You're classics.
Hmm.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Babysitter's Club books and don't tell mom babysitter's dead. Cause I am living single. Oh, in my 90s kind of world.
I'm
I
glad
never
I
had a
got
girl. Keep my head down. What? Keep my head down. That's right. Cause whenever I'm around, them bitches act uptight. Bitches never love me. With the ears? Is it the gray? The balding?
Steve, you look very regal today. I gotta say, I love that look.
Somebody loves me.
My ladies love Steve G. Okay, they just don't know how to get in touch. So
Hoes never love me. But today, my friend, we're talking all things August 22nd in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, Pump Up the Volume premieres. Mark runs a pirate radio station and causes an uproar when he speaks his mind and enthralls fellow teens. Directed by Alan Moyle, starring Christian Slater, Scott Paulin, Ellen Green, and Samantha Mathis.
yeah, this is very of the times movie. This was something. I mean, it's a pirate radio station, which I love that. I mean, we just now it's this guy would have a podcast now.
He
You
would.
know, it'd be much easier to pull off. But yeah, Christian Slater's running his own little pirate radio station. He's getting a lot of listens. People are liking the vibe. It's kind of like a Wolfman Jack type a little bit with that raspy voice. I
Nice.
think he's called Hard on Harry.
Hard on Harry. Stay
Is
hard,
that what
everybody. Yeah.
yeah. And he's in high school, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's in high school and he's a complete dweeb in real life. And before watching this movie, I was like, how do y'all not realize it's the same guy that talks like this all the time? But he's not like that in real life. He's like very demure, very just like nerdy. He can't be that. And like that's when he becomes hard on Harry, that's like his spirit animal. He gets to really be who he wants to be when he's on radio.
They're listening to you, man. The
Yeah.
man's taking over, man. He's a tastemaker, Steve. He's playing some good music. But eventually, there's like this weird chick in high school that starts to catch on to what you're saying. And she starts seeing this guy. And I think she
Yeah.
figures out a way to figure out that he's this DJ. And she
tracks him
does.
down. Yeah.
She stalks him. They become a thing. But here's okay, because I obviously have seen this a bunch, but I remember one specific point in this movie. As his hard on Harry character, doesn't somebody call him and say they're gonna kill themselves? And he's just like, just take it easy, man. Like, think about it.
Yeah.
But the guy just kills himself,
He ends
isn't
up
that?
killing himself. Yeah, one of the
Okay.
students.
Yeah. So a Fraser Crane, this guy is not, Steve, but What did you think of this movie? It's just like a great '90s movie. It makes no sense now, but if you like some Christian Slater, I mean, it's a nice one. See,
Early 90s Christian Slater, even 80s Christian Slater, you can't go wrong, man. Like,
there's somebody else in this movie that I'm trying to think of. Oh, Seth Green's in this movie, Steve.
really, he's one of the students.
Yeah, he's Joey, but I remember somebody telling me that like a while ago, and I was like, "There's no way." But yeah, he must have been hella young in it. But yeah, Seth Green's in this, and somebody else is in this too. Ahmet Zappa's in it. One of the Zappa brothers is in it too, the bald
Okay.
one.
Well, I know the main love interest, Samantha Mathis, they were actually dating at the time, and that helps for the chemistry on screen. You get to see a little bit of titty nibble, some Samantha Mathis titty nibble, baby. And apparently, Samantha Mathis was dating River Phoenix at the time of his death. So, yeah,
Oh, tragic. Um, yeah, this is like a nice aperitif or like appetizer for True Romance because then it's like it goes hard, Steve.
yeah.
That's he got off the radio station and got into fucking hookers and blow.
Time to start working with Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, man. I love me some Christian Slater. Let's just give him some props, dude.
Yeah,
He's in a
he's
lot of great movies, dude. He's even in that weird movie that Nintendo made called The Wizard. He's in
he
that.
was in that.
He's the big brother
Oh, dude.
that goes with Bo Bridges, and then he's even like playing Nintendo with his dad on the road. They bond. They find Fred Savage and the kid that can only say California. And FYI, fun fact for my family, the dinosaurs that kid wants to go to, right next to where Kendra, my wife, is from. Steve, we visit them
Wow.
every time we go. They're literally 5 minutes away from where she lives. It's a hellhole of a place to live, but those dinosaurs are pretty cool. I gotta
They're still
say.
there.
They're there, dude. They paint them and decorate them for holidays and stuff too. So if you go at the right time, the Tyrannosaurus Rex has like a Santa hat on and shit.
Yeah. I wonder what they do with those Easter eggs and when that comes around. But, yeah. In 1992, Citizen Cone is released through HBO as ruthless lawyer and power broker Roy M. Cone lies dying of AIDS in a private hospital room. Ghosts from his past visit him as he reflects on his life and loves. Directed by Frank Pearson, starring James Woods.
James Woods playing a scumbag.
Pretty
you
much.
Can't go wrong. I mean, he's the McCarthy's lawyer, so that guy was a piece of shit. And so by proxy, James Woods, the lawyer, Mr. Cone, would be much worse. So never seen it, but it's an HBO movie, and it's got James Woods in it. So I can only assume, Steve.
It's a good movie. They found the right guy for this role. I remember seeing a documentary on the real Roy Cohn, and by all accounts, he's a piece of shit. He sent people to the electric chair when they had no business even going to trial or even being guilty of anything. He was a part of that Red Scare. He was McCarthy's right-hand man, like you said. And he was also a gay basher. He was a huge gay basher in those times, the 50s and 60s. But unbeknownst to the public, he was the biggest fairy of them all, man. He died of AIDS.
That always is the case, especially for those outspoken type of anti people. They always got a demon in their closet about that. But I do got to give some props to somebody else in this movie, Steve, because I'm just looking at the cast list. One, Joe Don Baker plays McCarthy in this, and Joe Don Baker's a ledge. So shout out to that man, big dog.
Joe Don Baker is just scattered throughout the 90s, man. He's been a part of a lot of big productions too. But yeah, man, life hack for the people. Any of these HBO made for TV movies available on YouTube.
Oh, nice. Citizen Cone right there for the taking.
But yeah, he was nominated. James Woods was for his performance, which I don't even know if you could call it acting because, by all accounts with him, he's a piece of shit.
He's just play his. I mean, there's a lot of scumbags that guys play, but to me, his character in Casino, the pimp that won't leave Sharon Stone alone, just the way he looks and talks in that movie is what I actually think James Woods is like. when you get like behind the scenes. He doesn't. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're wrong, Steve. Maybe James Woods is a solid citizen, but I don't know.
No, he's a horrible human being. That following year, Living Single debuts on Fox. The first episode is Judging by the Cover. Regine thinks she's found a perfect man, but Khadijah and Synclaire know he's married. Hilarity ensues.
Regine, gosh dang it. Always with these finagled men. But the man she finds, Steve, he's alleged too. We'll get to that. Khadijah and Synclaire are like the first characters that we really get to meet. Khadijah runs a magazine called Flava. Synclaire's one of her buddies, and I think she's a sec. Oh, my bad. It is her. They're a blood relation, and I think Synclaire's like the secretary of Flava. Like she's there to she's an assistant basically.
Yeah,
and she's not good at her job, Steve, because find out, she was supposed to send Maya Angelou a couple of questions because Maya Angelou's doing the next issue of Flava. But they get a call. Maya never got the questions, so she's out, and they've lost the cover of the magazine. So now this is DEFCON 1 at a magazine, Steve. The cover and the cover article are gone. So now she's flailing to find anybody to be on the cover. Is Billy D. Williams available? Is somebody, who can we get quickly?
Slappy White. Reginald Bell Johnson.
Yeah, dude. Fucking rerun anybody. Get somebody here.
But while this is going on, Regine comes in and she came to gloat. She comes in and she asks, what is long, black, and has a curve? And they're like, wait, what?
This is a
stretch
TV
limo.
show.
Yeah, a stretch limo. And my Brad owns that stretch limo. And she's just gloating about her new boo, Brad.
Here's my problem with Regine's story. Get picked up in a limo? Cool. She's even talking about getting down in that limo too. Even better. Even better for Brad. But here's where it takes a turn. Brad was eating caviar out of her cleavage. That's okay. I don't want that food, but that's kind of cool. Drinking champagne out of a shoe, Steve?
Y'all some freaks.
Yeah, you got a limo, and that's what you're choosing to do. That shows me there's some real bad decisions that are going to happen later on. So that's a little suspect. But I love the energy of a woman that just did that. It just has to come gloat about having a man at the place of work. Like, you guys live together. You could just wait it. But no, she's got to tell the bitch.
Yeah, Brad eats ass too. If you drink champagne from a shoe, eat caviar, which is already nasty. Yeah, you definitely eat ass.
There is no limit to what Brad will do. I'm with you. If a shoe's involved at all, in any way to sex, you're gonna do some weird shit. There's probably some like whips and chains, maybe some yo-yos, a couple of
balling gag.
Yeah, something.
But Khadijah warns Regine, like, dudes always drop you like Eddie Murphy albums, worse than Eddie Murphy albums.
Oh, why you gotta fuck with Eddie, man?
No.
Party all the time is a fucking badass song. I don't give a fuck.
He deserves better, Khadijah.
You can suck my dick. That song is good. But Synclaire's out. Or she's on the outs with Khadijah right now because of the mistake. Regine leaves. I guess she's got a sausage to hide someplace, but an actual edible sausage, Steve, not what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And Khadijah's left just twiddling her thumbs, trying to think of some celebrity that she can get a hold of. I guess within the next day.
Yeah. Synclaire suggests Mike Tyson on short notice because she knows where he's at. And Mike Tyson deserves better too. I didn't like that dig because he was in jail.
That's a tough shot, Synclaire. Yeah. That's not fair.
I appreciate that. But back at the house, this is our first time seeing the home. And does this living room look familiar, Matt?
It does. Where's it from, Steve?
They had to borrow the Winslow household for this pilot episode.
Damn. Well, hey, that's nice that they loaned them the living room, Steve. And you'd never know. You'd never.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Harriet. And we are introduced to Overton for the first time, and he's working on Sinclair's vacuum.
Yeah. And this is a thing, Steve. This is a running gag. Overton is in love with Synclaire. He loves her.
Smitten.
Just love at first sight. And he'll do anything. He's the handyman. So, you need something fixed, he can show up, and maybe he'll find something that doesn't need fixed just to hang out with Synclaire. And I love that. That's sweet. Yeah. That's nice.
And this is one of those examples of growth, because as we know in hindsight, this will soon eventually escalate into a full-blown relationship, an engagement, the whole nine. And while Sinclair's it's love, and while Sinclair's getting them beverages, Kyle comes in and we're introduced to Kyle. He's schooling.
He's very, he's like, I don't even know who to compare him, but he's just so smug. I love it. Kyle's a baller. What does he do for a job, Steve?
I know he's into business. That's all I know.
He makes money. That's it.
Yeah, he wears suits to his job, and he's schooling Overton on how he's a rookie. He's like, look, man, you're like the basketball player that just dribbles around the goal, and you never shoot your shot while you're over here fixing vacuums. I'm the type that goes straight to the middle and bam. It's like, oh, really? Well, what about that time your girl said you had a 3-second violation? Whoa, man.
Man, you said you wouldn't even talk about that anymore, man. It wasn't like that.
Block. Yeah.
I had a mental block. Yeah, dude. Kyle and Overton are awesome, though. They're not side characters. They're very much like part of the main cast, but they're great comedic relief at the show all the time. And then they get serious. We covered that one where Kyle and Max got into it.
That was the last time we talked about this show. Yeah. That was a while ago, man. And he's like, man, what you going to do with that hammer? It's just a hammer. Oh, this isn't just a hammer. This is an heirloom. My great-granddaddy passed it to my daddy's daddy, and who I thought was my daddy, passed it on to me.
Dude, that shit's got history, Kyle. He almost got bopped on the head with that shit.
Khadijah's still looking for a cover story.
Okay. Sorry.
And she almost scored Nipsey Russell, but he's doing a dinner theater.
I'll go to that dinner theater, Steve. I don't think that would be fun in general, but if Nipsey Russell's there, I feel like that'd be a good time.
Get some puns, some classic one-liners for sure, man.
And Regine thinks that her boyfriend is here to pick her up because they get a knock on the door. Max walks in. This is the first time we get to meet Max, the lawyer. Yeah. And she starts bragging about how she's taken everything from some poor sap. She took it all, Steve. The house, his dignity, his balls. And Kyle's not. And this is another relationship that is like they clash, but they want to smash, Steve. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kyle's like, this is disgusting. You have no morals. I love that. He just takes it to her. He takes it right to the pate, Steve. Bam!
She's feeling herself, though.
He's like, but you want me, though. And I have to say, Kyle has like a very deep baritone voice that he's gonna, he'll smash eventually, Steve. He's like, pump up the volume. People, exactly. It's just gonna happen.
And then so they leave, and Synclaire says, that Overton is so sweet. But Khadijah's like, please promise me you will never conceive a child with that man. Just wait a couple seasons.
Some smash. And then Regine's Brad finally shows up, Steve. And it's none other than the security guard from White Men Can't Jump that Woody hits the hook shot on. He's been in a lot of other stuff. He's a bad guy. Yeah, hell yeah. But that's what I know him for. Guy's handsome as all hell. He walks in. He's just he's charming, Steve.
The ladies are feeling him.
Everyone's loving it, especially Khadijah. Khadijah almost starts just slobbing his knob right there. It's crazy. Yeah.
She's like, what do you do? Where do you live? All of this. Where did you go to school? Well, I rent a townhome, and I went to Cordon Bleu, and I own a supper club in Harlem. And then while that's going on, Regine's like, get away from my man. They hurry up and get the hell out.
Yeah. We got some snack
Moist
packs to
hands.
rub on my body.
Yeah, some gushers and some gushing.
And yeah, so they're gone, Steve. And but again, a lot of soggy drawers in that apartment, and a lot of pipes need cleaning. So maybe even this might have worked out for Overton.
The classic '90s foin. I think that was said at least 3 or 4 times in this episode. Can we go back to those times? Foin.
Doesn't somebody do that right when he walks in? Somebody's like mid sentence, like, man, he's probably a goddamn.
Foin.
It's like you, Steve. It's like your classic goddamn.
Back at the flavor office, a lady comes up to Sinclair's desk and she's saying something about Brad. Sinclair's like, "Oh, I know Brad. How do you know my husband?" Now that lady, that's the same lady that took Carlton's virginity. Another call out, another shout out to another
Shout
classic
out to
show.
that. Shout out to that little minx. But turns out that's Brad's wife, and Sinclair again fucks it up. She's like, "Oh yeah, I know your oh." Because why was she coming there again? What was this connect? She was bringing checks.
I don't even remember. She came there to do some kind of business, but
Well,
yeah.
sums up there now. Sinclair's on. She knows Brad's a cheater. We cut back to the apartment, and Max and Sinclair are now discussing this.
Khadijah is aware of it too, because she pulls Khadijah to the side in the office. It's like, "Hey, we got to talk." Yeah.
Brad is not taken. And Khadijah's like, "I don't give a shit. Where's he at?"
And now they're debating whether or not to tell Regine. And they already know Regine's not trying to hear it because she's living the fast lane, living life in the fast lane.
I mean, all the stuff, all the perks of being with Brad, I want to date the guy. She's going to Martha's Vineyard. They're going on a little vacay solo because Brad needs to get out of town. They're going to take his convertible, the whole shebang, Steve. And then basically Max and Khadijah and Sinclair point out all these like red flags. Like, why is he trying to isolate you? Have you ever met his family? Like all those like red flags where it's like he's obviously cheating on you or cheating on his wife or whatever, you know.
Have you ever called his phone? Have you ever called his home? Well, his grandpa's got a hearing. What, girl? What? You buying all of these lies?
I like Regine's like, but he doesn't wear a wedding ring. And they're like, bitch, what? She doesn't want to hear it, Steve. This guy, he's got a limo and he lets me use food to fuck. And those are the two things Regine needs, obviously. You know?
She's hiding it in plain sight herself, man. Like he doesn't even need to. He can give her any lame excuse, and she's just buying it. It's like I can keep riding a stretch limo. You keep eating caviar out my titties. Cool, I'm cool with it.
Brad eventually comes through, and the other girls, do what you got to do in this situation, which is go into the kitchen and crack the door so you can hear everything that's being said. So we get to cut back and forth, which is hilarious. They create some comedy with that, but Brad comes in. And this is Brad, Steve. He's ready for whatever. He's a cheater anyway. So he's got these excuses lined up. And he's like, look, baby, this is Brad talking to you. Can we talk about this later? Like, let's go out. You're overreacting. You're excited.
I was going to tell you, baby. I was just looking for the right time. I understand why you angry. I just need a chance to explain. Give me some time. You know what? Let's go outside. And the girls, they're hearing this, thinking that Regine like slammed the door in their face. When they go into the living room, they're both going.
Yeah, they're like, girl, oh, damn it.
Sinclair's like, well, she was polite enough to walk him out.
She's great, dude. Kim Coles is awesome in this show. So we cut. Brad and Regine have to get to Carl's Jr. and get some special sauce for something, a couple of ice cubes and a putter. And Khadijah gets another rejection, this time from Slappy White. And not even just Slappy White. It's not Slappy White, it's his cook, Steve.
It's his cook who doubles as his agent, I guess.
Yeah. She's talking to somebody. I think maybe Sinclair. And they're like, "What's going on?" And it turns out Regine's not dropped Brad like a bad case. She's upstairs getting ready to go out with Brad. You
Yeah,
know, because fuck
fresh
it.
off the set of a In Vogue video, man. But
Yeah.
she's looking nice. She's looking nice in that tight dress. But yeah, man. Uh, so she's getting ready for that, and they're still trying to talk her off the ledge. Like, do you know what you're doing? And even the guys are a part of this now. Like, I think Overton says late, like he's late in the game. I mean, that's pretty much his character. Was like, hey, girl, you know that man's married.
Yeah, and she's like, she tells everybody, she hears all these things and these truths, and she's like, "Look, his marriage was broken before I
Before me,
came into the
yeah.
picture, and he is eventually going to leave this woman. It's just a matter of time. So I'm just here. This is a new thing. This is a new beginning for Brad. So I'd appreciate it if you guys just shut the fuck up." So she's delusional, Steve. You know, she doesn't want to hear it.
And then like time passes, it elapses, and we come back to the living room. Regine is still there. She's filling her face with snacks, eating pudding pops, eating Jello pudding and Gushers, fruit by the foot.
Gushers. I mean, she's got an ice cream pint open. She's eating. She's dipping cookies into the. This is a fat person's dream. If I walked in there, I'd be in heaven, Steve. Let me just saddle up here, just be miserable because she's eating every feeling that she has.
All
It's
the misery
impressive.
foods. Yeah.
It's impressive.
And Khadijah's like, I don't know how you got so snooty. You're only one generation removed from the projects.
She's just like, I don't get it. I don't get why men can't live up to my very high expectations. I don't get why I'm constantly disappointed. And she just like, and she explains all these like things she wants. It's like, you gotta at least, I mean, damn, woman. It's not all, like you said, it's not an En Vogue video constantly.
800 credit score, at least six figures, at least. And then Max chimes in. She's like, the problem is you're always looking for a man to carry you. Well, what's wrong with that? And Khadijah says, they always drop your ass. That's the problem.
Yeah, dude. Damn. The just zingers they throw at each other, I love it. These are just like the Blanche zingers, Steve, that Sophia was
Exactly.
throwing out, you know? And she's basically comes to the conclusion that it's time to treat Regine well. So Regine needs to give Regine a nice day. So tomorrow she's going to go get her hair done. She's going to go shopping. Maybe she's going to buy some hair.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. Treat yourself.
Mani-pedi, spa treatment.
Whatever. Just a nice rosé. Just a couple of shots, whatever. And so then they're talking. Sinclair's like, I wonder what the world would be without men. And Khadijah's like, a bunch of fat, happy women, like women with no crime or something like that. I liked it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, fat happy women at peace or something like that.
Yeah.
And next we're in the restroom in the closing credits, and Max comes in with the issue of Flavor, and apparently Khadijah found a cover story for that issue just in time. And what leads to next is a classic scene. They sing My Girl, and this is one of the like lasting images. Whenever I think of Living Single, I think about this scene because it's in the pilot. And I think other shows like recap shows use this scene whenever Living Single was brought up.
Yeah. Yeah, but that speaks to how good the writing is for a pilot. If one of the main like signature moments of your show is in the pilot, you did something right. And it's great. And also shout out to Khadijah because apparently Flava is selling like hotcakes because Max says it sold out. She got the last issue.
The queen,
So,
man.
Hell yeah.
Like I've lost track of how many pilots we've covered, but again, man, great establishing episode for the characters. We get a feel for how each person gets down, each of the main characters, like what their personality type is, and things of that nature.
Yeah, it works. and it sets up a show that, like you said, it got I don't know how long it actually lasted. Like this show, I don't know if it would have lasted longer if Friends never came along. But you know what? If we have to fight a battle and it's Team Friends versus Team in Living Single, Steve, I am stoutly on on Living Single side, and I will fight to the death against these Friends fucks.
You, me, and all of Black Twitter. 1995, Rancid releases "And Out Come the Wolves," and I wanted to bring this up because it brings back good memories of Perrysburg High School. One of the songs on this album is called "Time Bomb," and the band that I was in, the first band, was a punk ska band called Thrift Store All Stars, and we would cover that song. Black hat, black shoes, black hat, Cadillac, yeah, the boy's a time bomb. Black hat, like yeah, it's been years
Were you a
removed.
huge Rancid's fan? Because I was never. I only knew them because of their album art ever, like because it was on T-shirts and shit.
I think it was a time and place, man. I think that because of the people I was hanging with, they were big fans of punk ska. Steve before Perrysburg didn't know much about punk or ska, especially punk ska, but they had some tracks that I would like. Time Bomb, I still listen to that, and it just brought back good memories of rehearsing in Neil's band in his garage, and drinking Mountain Dew, man, and like
Hell
also,
yeah!
like this is a big album for Rancid because it crossed them over to the mainstream, and I feel like that's the antithesis of being a punk band. When you go mainstream, you're considered a sellout, but this album, along with Offspring Smash and Green Day's Dookie, it brought punk to the mainstream on a national spotlight. Um, you know, and also like listening to this album, I feel like I'm in a Kevin Smith movie.
I love that.
You
So it's
know,
that kind of vibe. Like I said, I never really listened to Rancid that much.
this album got them to the point of being musical guests on SNL, and I feel like that's like
That's big.
that's a mark. That's a mark, as a music artist or any kind of performer, man. When you make it to that stage, but you know what I mean with Kevin Smith, like when the movie first starts, or even in the background, like that's the vibe I get from Rancid, man. So
I
shout out
love
to
that.
them. Yeah, in 1997, G.I. Jane premieres in theaters. Lieutenant Jordan, a U.S. Navy topographic analyst, joins the U.S. Navy Special Warfare Group and struggles to prove her worth in a unit dominated by men. But a cynical woman Texan senator has sold her out. Directed by Ridley Scott, starring Jada Pinkett, Demi Moore, Viggo Mortensen, and Anne Bancroft.
Yeah, Viggo Mortensen's like a scumbag in this, isn't he?
I didn't get to watch it. It's not available even on my, my
Oh.
internet conduit.
I mean, I don't remember. I remember bits and pieces. It's a lot of just Demi Moore just doing military training and getting shit on a lot and overcoming that. But yeah, I mean, I guess it was a physical transformation because she had to shave her head and she got like shredded as hell to do the movie. And I think that was kind of the main sales pitch at the time for this, where you like remember like the trailer was her doing like pull ups and stuff and being berated. That's basically the whole movie.
I remember the hype around this more than the actual movie. About what you said, like, "Oh my god, she's less attractive. How did she do it?" It's
Yeah.
kind of like how Stallone added all that weight for Copland. Like that was how it was always like, "Oh my god, this is a big deal. She shaved her
Yeah.
head. I didn't
Yeah,
know
I
she
mean
could
that's
shave her
really what
head."
it was because her body. I'm sure she was like 5 minutes away from being that yoked because she was a beautiful woman, dude. She was in great shape. So, but this, it's a military movie, and it's like one of those. There's a lot of these where they're like in basic training, and everyone's being put through it, and she has to deal with people shitting on her for being a woman and trying to do this and trying to talk her out of it, and is it my favorite movie? No, but it's not. I feel like it's actually pretty good. And like you said, Viggo Mortensen's in it, and I'm pretty sure he's like the de facto villain for most of the movie. He's like the asshole guy.
So you have seen it, and it
I've
wasn't
seen
bad.
it. No, it's not
Okay.
bad. It's not bad. It's not. It's. I wouldn't want to watch it voluntarily, uh, but it's not. I didn't walk away being like this movie sucks, but I haven't seen it in God 20 some years, probably. I don't know.
Now, apparently, Demi Moore wrote a book called Inside Out, and she said this movie was her proudest professional achievement. And I was like, Swayze, are you hearing this?
Not
Whoopi,
striptease.
Whoopi, did you hear that? I feel like this is disrespectful in some way. Like, look, man,
Yeah.
I don't remember shit about G.I. Jane because I mean, I've never seen it. But before I even saw Ghost as a kid, the classic pottery scene, like
Yeah.
that's something that's iconic. Like, you were with the Swayze dog. This is your proudest achievement. Hey, I'm a bounce off Miss
Yo,
Willis, Miss X Willis. There, see, there it is.
it's right here. And this is a sign, Steve. He doesn't like this. God damn it. He's shaking. My titties are shaking right now. Yeah, like for sure, it's not this. But I would argue in her mind it's probably because Ghost. I think Swayze's the main pull. Let's be honest. And her insane haircut in it doesn't help. She's got the same haircut I had as a kid. She's got that
Sprinkling
weird bowl. Annie, come on, Annie, fucking flare it out or something. Grow it out.
Yeah. Sprinkling some Whoopi, you can't go wrong in the early 90s. On that same day in 97, Mimic premieres. 3 years ago, entomologist Dr. Susan Tyler genetically created an insect to kill cockroaches, carrying a virulent disease. Now the insects are out to destroy their only predator, mankind. Directed by Guillermo del Toro, starring Mira Sorvino, Jeremy Northam, Josh Brolin, Giancarlo Giannini, F. Murray Abraham, and Charles S. Dutton.
Yeah, dude, this movie's good. This is a good horror movie. It's weird. It's a weird concept
Scary.
because basically the monster that they're fighting is a humanoid cockroach.
Yeah.
And it can mimic humans. Like basically this doctor I feel like in the beginning of this movie, cockroaches are somehow creating a disease that's killing kids. So this doctor creates some sort of thing that makes them it speeds something up in their body that supposedly is supposed to kill them, but somehow created years later this humanoid thing that can just like sort of look like a human, but then when you get up close, it's like, and it like gets you, you know?
And bullets don't even phase these damn things, man.
It's a cockroach, so you can't. I mean, it's that's the joke that you can't kill these things,
Oh.
But we get a Josh Brolin, we get Mira Sorvino, she's a great scream queen because that's basically the purpose she's serving. And to be to all that cherry on top, we get Charles S. Dutton, we get some other great character actors, and the
F.
guy
Murray
directing
Abraham.
it is a young Guillermo del Toro, and we know he's good at what he does. So.
Yeah.
This is a solid movie. You don't get like it's on the level of Species to me, but you don't get any titties, Steve. And that's where Species kind of excelled, where Mimic doesn't. You don't get that, but
you do get some rock though. Bugs,
Yeah.
I want you to get a job.
Man, you got me down here in the subway like this.
Man, I'm going back to taking out trash.
Sir, what come over here with that trench coat. Who are you? Ah!
And speaking of Mr. Del Toro, he had some clashings with the Weinsteins. The Weinsteins, they had a heavy hand in this film, man, and there was a lot of meddling. And it got to the point where they almost came to blows. Now, there were sequels. There was a Mimic 2 and a Mimic 3. Guillermo wanted nothing to do with those after this experience, man.
Yeah. But this was a good thing. The 90s served this weird, like there was a lot of like really good horror and monster movies, I feel like, that came out, like especially in the late 90s, that they don't get a lot of praise. Everyone knows about Deep Blue Sea, but there's other movies that were like, I struggle right now, and if I wish I could pull it out of my head, but there was a movie called The Relic. This is another one I can think of, but they were just like killing these, like, I wouldn't call $30 million a low budget, but it was like one of those where you never heard of it. You went to the movie rental place, you picked it up because it was a new release, and you were like blown away because it was that good of a movie. We talked about Event Horizon, and I said basically the same thing, and this is the same thing. This was just like one of those where you like have no expectations. Like, this is great. This is amazing.
It's worth watching at least once, man. But
It's a good monster movie.
on that same day in 97, Money Talks premieres. Sought by police and criminals, a small time huckster makes a deal with a TV newsman for protection. Directed by Brett Ratner, starring Chris Tucker, Charlie Sheen, Heather Locklear, Gerald Ismail, Paul Sorvino, and Elise Neal. Hey,
I
man.
mean, man, what you doing, man? Charlie, man.
They put their hands on you.
Winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, we get it all in this, Steve. This is just Chris. This is a Chris Tucker extravaganza. You get everything you could possibly want. It's sprinkling a little Sheen dog to just to lighten it up a little bit. Winning.
Sheen. How are you with Sheen? How do you feel about this guy?
I feel like the person is probably a mess, obviously, now.
Yeah.
Sheen in the 90s and 80s, killing it.
Yeah.
He was in Platoon. What I loved about Charlie Sheen also, just like Estevez, he'll do like the spoof movies. You know, Hot Shots.
Hot Shots was my
We
shit.
gotta discuss it at some point because it was one of those, and part deux, if you want to just throw that in there too. And he's good at comedic acting, you know.
Word to Leslie Nielsen.
Hell yeah, dude. But this is just a great, you know, everyone wanted Chris Tucker. We watched Friday. We wanted something else. Rush Hour's not here yet. But what is Money Talks. And it's a great buddy comedy, Steve.
And this is vintage Chris Tucker. Like, this is like the last, I think there was something else that came out this year with Chris Tucker. Oh, Jackie Brown. But that was a small scene. It was like just one scene he was in. But like, this is like the last of this kind of Chris Tucker we get before he becomes a born again Christian. And the scene with him and Faison Love, that actually wasn't even in the original script.
You know, they lived together when they were coming up in comedy, right?
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. Faison Love told that on, I think, Vlad TV or something. But like, I think Faison Love took Chris Tucker to the Friday audition. And I think maybe that's how maybe he got injected into the movie too. But they were roommates and shit. So I love that. He got his buddy a part in the movie. And it's a great like 2 minutes of just him crushing it.
Oh man, yeah, dude. There was some freestyle, and they said that it took a while to do this scene because people just kept breaking character. Still to this day, I've seen this a million times, and it still cracks me up. The long look Faison gives him,
dude. When just the weird things he does as Chris Tucker's going on his little rant, where he's like slowly unbuckling his pants and stuff. Man, what? He did what? Man, he told me to do this, man. He's taking his shirt off and shit.
Don't touch me, man. So I was saying.
Yeah. I mean, dude. And this is what we love, dude. Chris Tucker was on fire.
Yeah.
He was so fucking funny. It's weird that he's just I liked Rush Hour, so I was still a fan then, but yeah, man, we didn't get enough of it. I wish we got more of this.
Same, man. And that following year, The Rat Pack debuts on HBO. The Public and Private Lives of Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and Peter Lawford. Directed by Robert Cohen, starring Ray Liotta, Joe Mantegna, Don Cheadle, Angus McFadden, William S. Peterson, and Dan O'Hurley.
Damn. That's a cast.
It is, man. For an HBO movie, like, they really don't drop the ball for the most part from the movies we've covered and the ones I've seen after the 90s, man. They're solid movies.
And they'll make a motherfucker of a documentary too. They're just like, you know, they got good taste. Whatever their formula is works.
And Ray Liotta, he studied Anthony Hopkins' performance in Nixon because he knows he looks nothing like Frank Sinatra. But just like Anthony Hopkins not looking anything like Nixon, he wanted to get past that and just focus on the performance, which I think everyone involved did a great job, man. Don Cheadle is Sammy Davis Jr. They touched on like the racism that he had to deal with being married to a white woman, and some of the jokes that Frank and Dean Martin would throw his way, they were kind of off color, no pun intended. And they show a little bit of that, like how he's just taking it on the chin. They would throw some kind of, you know, racial undertone jokes at him, and they in one scene he like he's laughing, and then he for a brief second he turns around and he's like,
Damn.
And I knew that had to happen, man.
Yeah, I mean, hell yeah. Back in that day, dude, of course. And he's performing with a bunch of Italians for a bunch of Italians. They're not necessarily the most racially fun bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? They're not very accepting over there.
True, very true. But in another scene, in the same token, man, also no pun intended, Frank Sinatra, he offers like his support when Sammy Davis Jr. is talking about marrying his fiance, and you know how big of a deal it is to society at the time. Frank Sinatra's like, "Hey, man, I'll publicly step out and speak out in support of you." And I thought that was really cool of the chairman
Oh
of the
yeah.
board. And you know, once again, Ray Liotta, we just talked about him in Copland, and here we are again, Ray Liotta. R.I.P. We'll be revisiting Mr. Liotta here in the near future, if you know what I mean.
Leota, dude. This guy's he's just basically cemented. You know,
Sure.
if it's mob shit, if it's gangster shit. I mean, even in Karina, or was that it?
He was in that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He's a nice. He can even pull off a nice dad every once in a while. But dude, yeah, dude, just gone but not forgotten, Leota.
Oh,
For
I forgot
sure.
Don Cheadle. It's ironic that he's playing Sammy Davis Jr., who performed in the original Ocean's 11 back in the day with the Rat Pack. Fast forward to the 2000s, and Don Cheadle's in the remake of
That's
Ocean's 11.
cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I love that. They never even mentioned that during like the fucking lead up to Ocean's 11. There was all that press, all of everybody talking about it. That's a great fact.
for sure, man.
Maybe they did. Maybe they did.
Maybe because it was a HBO movie, it wasn't as well known as it should be. Because it was a solid movie, man. Again, I'm a sucker for biopics. That following year, WWF is airing SummerSlam '99 from the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Dude,
Yes,
this might be one of the best pay per views from back to front, period. Like that I
it's
didn't know about.
it's
This
definitely
is
one of the
great.
best SummerSlams.
I mean, there is so much gold in this. Even in the matches where I was like, dude, I don't want to watch this one when I saw it on the list.
Yeah,
I'm looking at you, Al Snow. Like that match, the hardcore match, I was not looking forward to it. But dude, such a good pay per view. I didn't expect it. I was so
it,
happy. I was laughing so hard during this whole thing. I can't wait.
and that match is hilarious, by the way. Like,
Oh, it's so good. It's fantastic. And there's added parts to it that make it even better, but we'll get to it. I don't want to spoil
yeah,
it too much. Um, but this is special, Steve. This is the late 90s. Minnesota's the place they're having this, and Minnesota's got a governor, Steve, that's used to be an employee of the WWF. One Jesse the Body Ventura, the
Schwarzenegger is
governor.
my buddy.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of shenanigans going on, a lot of things behind the scenes, especially with the championship division, where it just seems kind of lawless. And Jesse the Body's here just to instill a little justice. He's the governor, and he's here to be the fair, unbiased. I'm here to bring a straight shot shooter here to the WWF.
And
Find the bombs.
we see Jesse the Body with Triple H in China, and they're going to be a part of the main event. And Triple H is just like, you can make all the rules you want. I'm going to break them all.
You're going to break all my rules? You're going to lose the match then.
And,
You're the champ. I love he's like trying to be one of the guys too. He's like, I've been here. I know what you're going through.
right.
Shut
And,
up.
and we also get a little Jericho cameo, which I always appreciate. And he's talking to Howard Finkel. He's like, you need to get your act together, Harold. Like, that's one of the things that makes Jericho great. He messes people's names up on purpose, like calling SummerSlam SummerSham. And that's real brief. We see that, and then like they get right to it, man. Doing the play and play or the play by play is good old JR and Jared Lawler.
Just the legendary team. And the first match is fantastic. It's an intercontinental title match between D'Lo Brown, Jeff Jarrett, and one Deborah who is just she's running the 3-ring circus, Steve, with that outfit, and
Oh,
I'm just all. I mean, God bless, Steve.
the
God
puppies.
damn. Yeah, it's fantastic. I gotta also give D'Lo Brown some credit. Dude got bodied up. Like he's definitely not little chubby D'Lo Brown. He's looking pretty svelte in this match.
Yeah, like there was a WrestleMania we covered where Nation of Domination were in their early period, and they had like a Nation of Islam kind of deal. He was wearing a
Yeah,
suit. Yeah, he was chubbier, man. But being a part of the Attitude Era, you want to get noticed, you got to look good on camera for Vince.
I'm telling you, he's definitely like looking very fucking yoked up, and you know, Deborah's she's everyone's watching. Minnesota's just all eyes on the puppies. King's obviously loving that. But Jeff Jarrett's got this whole Mark Marrow thing where, you got this hot bodied blonde out here, right? You'd think he's want to showcase it. You want to let everybody see what the goods are, but he gets all in his head and he doesn't like all the attention that the Minnesota's giving his wife or his girl or whatever. And he tells Deborah, hit the bricks, sister. Get backstage. I can't just keep them things in a cooler for me until I get back.
They all took a page from Macho Man. He did it first. I'm sure he took a page from somebody else, but like that's a great way to make the crowd mad when you got a hot chick on your side and then you're just kind of being just this machismo. Like, yeah, this is my match, bitch.
You got a arena full of young horny teenagers and some old dudes that are horny and King. She's walking away. Everyone's like, asshole.
Yeah.
King's basically in tears going, where are the puppies going? Where are
Right.
the puppies?
Oh, Deborah, you're so bad. And
But god damn, dude. I thought Stacy Keibler was like my favorite diva other than Gold Dust chick. I never
Marlena.
remember her name. But dude, I forgot Deborah was just so
I tried to tell you.
intelligent. I forgot her brain was so big.
Yeah, right. And but like before the match starts, we see that D'Lo, he's conversating with Deborah now, and he's like, you know what? You don't even hear what they're saying, but he's like, come on with me. So now D'Lo comes out with Deborah, and they're like, yeah, D'Lo's got the right idea. Yeah.
Thank you. And now Deborah's with D'Lo. Jeff's obviously taking it bad. He's already lost the Michael Bolton hair, so this is just another blow to his ego that it's tough for him to take, Steve.
Never liked the guy. I gotta say that. He's always been a heel from my memory in WWF, whether he was doing the cowboy hat with the long hair or doing this. I think he was always a heel, and he's one of those guys that you just cannot find it in yourself to like. So, just like James Woods, you're perfect for this, Jeff Jarrett.
You piss me off, slap nut. Yeah, I mean he's never soft and inviting and warm to somebody, Steve. He's either hitting you over the head with a guitar or wearing some weird Ziggy Stardust male porn star outfit with his blonde locks. I never got that at all, but yeah, I'm with you. Jeff Jarrett, other than just like the vibe he did and like the obvious Ric Flair ripoffs, I could, it's whatever. But he had Deborah, Steve. So there you go.
He had Deborah, and he had Owen at one point too. So you get cool points for that. And at one point in the match, D'Lo does his leg drop, and I always appreciate that. You always gotta. This is a point in wrestling where somebody has to have a dancing move, just like Road Dogg's shiggity diggity knee drop, just like The Rock's little.
Yeah.
That was D'Lo's thing.
But
Leg
this
drop.
one I feel like dealt damage and it looked cool because it's very sudden. You're like, oh, what's he about? Oh, he just drops down. So I have that note too. Love that D'Lo leg drop. And then at one point near the end of the match, the fucking Mark Henry shows up and, him and D'Lo go back. I was like, Mark's here to help out, He's big. Maybe he's here to hang out with Deborah. I don't know. I get it either way.
But that's not the case because as the referee's distracted, Mark Henry picks up Jeff Jarrett's guitar and whack against his own homeboy. Not D'Lo. Not Nation.
Come on, man.
Nation domination.
And it turns out also we find out that Deborah, this was the whole plan that they had the whole time because she's celebrating with Jeff, Steve. She honey dicked fucking D'Lo. Of course.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
5D chess match.
She dickmatized his ass and took him out there. He was killing it. He won the whole match, Steve, and then he just took that fucking guitar shot, and that was it. Now he's no longer the champ, and Deborah's dicking down Jeff Jarrett and Mark Henry backstage.
And now he's the Intercontinental champ and the European champ, because we left that out. It was for both belts.
Oh, so now JJ has all the gold and puppies. That's
And all
not.
the puppies.
Come on, give D'Lo just a taste, man. Yeah. Yeah. And then the next thing is a whole thing, Steve, that I don't know. I mean, it's tag teams that fight. The winners go on to fight other tag teams, and it's called the Tag Team Turmoil match.
Yeah. And we see Michael Cole with Edge and Christian. And this is a period where I thought Edge used to look like Peter Wilson from La Femme Nikita. It's like, that's the same person. She does that show right after Sunday Night Heat. And she's,
man, show some titties on that show, by the way. Stop making it so sexy and no titties.
Yeah, I ain't come here to watch you roundhouse kick, bitch.
I didn't like Edge and Christian really much, especially in this era of them, because they look like male witches. They just look like, I don't like the vibe. I don't get it.
Just twinkle your nose, Christian.
But they used to be with Gangrel, but they dropped him like a bad habit. So now
but that's when they were cool.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they were male witches at that point because they were hanging out with the vampires, Steve.
They came up from the ground with the red lighting and the blood spit and shit. That's one of the coolest intro music.
Well, I gotta say, because the people that are with Gangrel currently, he took one set of brothers, kicked them to the curb. He's got another set of brothers that I would argue is the better set, the Hardy
They're
Boys.
the cooler ones.
And I gotta say, that little opening thing that you talked about, the little demonic, satanic thing that they do at the opening ramp, where he drinks out of what looked like just a simple wine glass to me. It didn't really even look like a chalice. But the Hardy Boys are like praying next to him, and he spits blood. That looked pretty fucking cool, honestly.
Edge and Christian, yeah, you had better with Gangrel.
But Gangrel looks like somebody that would like work in like a furniture store, but like molest kids. He doesn't look right.
Whoa. I was not expecting that. He might sell you a love seat. He might fuck a 12-year-old.
He's got this pudgy thing where it's like, is he athletic? You know, like you're buying a lazy boy and like, this guy looks kind of yoked up. But then your kid's missing and there's just vampire teeth there. And you're like, oh, fuck. I shouldn't have bought this sofa from Gangrel, but it is what it is.
He's got fangs for teeth. I can do something with him.
So the first two tag teams fighting are Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys. And they put on a show, Steve. They put on a fucking show. And I love the Hardy Boys. And the things that Jeff Hardy is willing to just do, like that swanton thing he does where he lands on like this.
Yeah.
I mean, screw that. That's crazy.
Spinal is all fucked up at this point, man. There's a flying moonsault. There's some missing flying moonsaults. Jeff Hardy does this really cool springboard leg drop I always loved, where he's on the top rope. He like drops on the third rope and then like bounces back and does a leg drop.
Yeah. Man. He also rips off Sabu's move of just jumping and like jamming his leg in somebody's face. He just doesn't have a chair. I think he uses Matt Hardy as the chair.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
But just acrobatics. And even Edge and Christian, I will give them credit for one thing. There's a moment in this, and they highlight it, where Jeff Hardy's running on like the crowd divider on one side. Edge gets on the other side, and they're like running at each other. And, you know, he kind of miffs the actual spear. But these guys are like running tight wires right at each other, and they connect. It looks amazing on film.
Yeah. And I don't think the crowd was ready for that at that point, because it should have got a bigger pop than it did. It was just like, oh, wow. When it should have been like, yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, that was tasty. That was like and that was just like a Matrix move because they're like wall running, and then it just like ends with like somebody hitting somebody. But Edge and Christian beat the Hardy Boys, so they advance. And in advancing, it's basically like Royal Rumble. The next tag team comes out, and that is going to be Midian and Big Vis, a tag team nobody wanted. And here's my thing with Viscera. I don't get the look in general, but putting a guy that's got to be 500 pounds of fat in a leather duster that he can't take off is insane.
It took a stable of cows to put that leather together.
When I was my fattest, Steve, my leather jacket that I had, it was literally probably a cow's worth of cow skin. So whatever Viscera's working with, it's a genocide of cows that he's wearing.
Pretty much, man. And I was thinking that same thing. Like, dude, he is sweating bullets on top of being 500 pounds, big as hell, and that leather coat looks like hot in some lights, in some shining light.
Dude. And he's the main, and I will give him some credit. He does a couple moves where I was like, damn, this motherfucker can do some shit. Like he pulled off a couple of like pretty acrobatic for a fat guy moves where I was, props to him. But he only has, I would say, 3 to 4 good minutes of wrestling in him. They use it all up, and then Edge and Christian just beat them because Viscera has to go back and get a couple oxygen hits because he's hurting bad,
Yeah, Edge spears Midian, and they get the pin. But up next, they have to face Droz and Prince Albert.
He's gonna puke. He's gonna puke. Is that Droz?
Right. That's the Droz, the pukester.
Okay. Yeah, dude.
R.I.P. Man, he just died.
This is the gross crew because they got the guy that pukes, and then Prince Albert looks like just a crazy leather daddy that's just. He's like Hungarian Harry. He's like Harry like a Russian, Steve, in a bad way.
Like Wolverine. Well, he's named after a dick piercing, for one.
Yeah, and he looks like a dick. Gross. He looks like a giant dick in and of itself. And I'm assuming his dick's pierced.
Yeah, like Vince is a crude motherfucker, but we know that at this point. And another shout out to Jim Ross, man. He's just trying to give people backstories. Good old JR. Talking about Darren Draw. He played college football and such and such, and he played for the Denver Broncos. And Jerry cuts him off because this has happened before. He's like, nobody cares where you play college football or in the NFL. They just care about where he's doing in the WWF.
He's gonna puke. But they get beat. They weren't gonna win this. Everybody knew that. But the next tag team are some motherfuckers, Steve, and it's the Acolytes.
Damn.
Dude, to this day, I saw some with Farouk in it where they were just it was like a shoot interview, and they were asking him like who the best wrestler was, like just random wrestling questions. And anything was like, who's the best this? He's like, me. Who's the strongest wrestler ever? He's like, me, motherfucker. It's like, what the fuck you think?
Yeah. Ron Simmons is solidified. Like, you never hear anybody say bad things about him. And Bradshaw, from different accounts, he's kind of a bully. Like the real guy, he's an a-hole. But when you're paired up with Farouk, man, hey, you got a shot at anything. And they come in playing bully ball. They waste no time. They're giving clothesline from hell, and even Farouk does his Dominator, which always looks painful.
Is that the spine buster thing he does?
Well, he does do the spine buster, but the Dominator is when you pick them up like a power bomb, and then you instead of dropping them like a traditional power bomb, you just kind of throw them their whole body down. Fucked up.
Hell yeah! You just throw them back down.
It's like halfway through it, you're like, man, fuck this shit. I don't feel like completing this move.
Yeah. And they beat the shit out. Bradshaw's good at making it look like he's beating the shit out of somebody too, for real. Like he does a couple like those drag him into a clothesline moves and stuff, and he throws really solid punches.
I'll give Bradshaw that. Yeah, his clothesline from hell.
Yeah, that shit looks crazy. And so shout out to Bradshaw and shout out to Farouk because when he does pin Edge or Christian, whoever he does, he just puts his foot up on him because they beat the shit out of him, and he's just like, man, bring them up the next person real quick. It's just like
Yeah.
it's the greatest lazy pin of all time. I love it.
Then the next components are Crash and Hardcore Holly, the Holly cousins. And I forgot this part about the Hollies. There was a lot of in-house fighting between them. They're hardcore, they're crazy. They both
Who's
look identical.
tougher?
Yeah. It was like Scooby-Doo and Scrappy kind of deal. And Crash
They come
tags
out
himself.
early too, though. They come out and, like, it's weird. It's like they fucked up the timing, but they come out and they're like, "What?" And then they just end it, and Farouk wins like the match. And to correct what I said, it was not a 1 foot pin. He gets down on the ground and just puts one arm on him, and is like, it's great. But yeah, now Hardcore. Here's a guy who I would think is an asshole, Steve. Hardcore Holly looks like an asshole. He looks like he beats up people.
You would hear about it, or I would have heard about it. You see enough of those shooter interviews, and like the usual suspects pop up. And I've heard about Bradshaw. There's an infamous story about him trying to bully Steve Blackman, and we'll talk about him later. Steve Blackman, I don't know why Bradshaw thought this was a good idea, but that's not a person that you want to play bully ball with, man.
I got questions about that. But basically, Farouk and Bradshaw, they just beat the living shit out of the Hollies too. There might be a couple things, and I shout out to the Hollies because they actually are pretty good wrestlers. I kind of forgot about them, but Farouk does another spine buster. He throws a couple in this match that just look. I would never want to take that bump, but they beat the Hollies, Steve, and they're basically, if you win, which they just did. Yeah. Tomorrow night you get to fight for the belts.
Gets the tag team champs. And up next you see Big Show and Taker. They're going to be fighting later in the event, and you see their arrival. And after that, you see Al Snow talking to his Chihuahua Pepper.
Yeah, well, he's like having a full conversation. He's like, sure. I mean, we can go out for dinner later, but it's just like, sometimes people think the weird thing. He's just having this weird, and it's Al Snow. He talks to a mannequin head, Steve. So
Lima, Ohio's finest, man. But somebody that we really appreciate is that DOGG Road Dogg, who's not participating on paper.
Oh, he's participating, Steve. Oh, you didn't know?
Do.
And this isn't a Road Dogg that's in his in-ring attire. This is business cash Road Dogg. He's got a Tommy Hilfiger shirt on. He's got a chain. He's got a fanny pack. So it looks like he just came in from a flight, from a vacay, but he's here because he's like, look, man, I heard there was some kind of hardcore match. Nobody called the DOGG about this. So winner of the hardcore match gets to fight. He honors the winner of a match the ability to fight him the next night, I think.
I love that arrogance. And, like I said before, man, this is the debut of Jericho on a WWF event. And he just disrupts, Road Dogg's moment. And he's telling people, hey, this SummerSlam, SummerSham, this bullshit. I'm not even in a card. And I'm the Ayatollah Rock-a-Rolla. Raw is Snore. Road Dogg, yeah, you think you're supposed to impress me by spelling out your name? Spell lugubrious, motherfucker. Huh?
Spell what? And Road Dogg's like, he hears it. I mean, Y2J goes on like a 5-minute rant. And Road Dogg's like, why don't you just shut up, bitch? And that's all it takes.
That's all it takes. He gets a pop.
What I love is that Jericho's stuck on some kind of like scaffolding thing, and he's just like, he's just like having a hissy fit. But what I also love is that Road Dogg comes out, he interrupts a pay-per-view. This is a whole thing. And then he's like, you know what? The King and JR are like, well, that was crazy. Well, I think Road Dogg's coming over here. Now Road Dogg's on the team, Steve. He's a part of the commentating team. He's here to just give his color commentary.
Yeah, man, for now.
I love it.
And Al Snow, he comes out, he gets a pop because people do like Al. He's a weird, eccentric guy, but it's the attitude era. We get behind anything that, catches our attention.
What does everybody want? Head. Even little kids were saying that. I was, like some 8-year-olds like, I love head. Like, what?
What? Hold up.
But Al Snow does appear to be intelligent enough to have a great plan. This is a hardcore match, so anything goes. So they have like these insane like Terminator lights that are just huge that are right at the beginning of like the entryway. So he just sits on it and just like hanging out. And when Big Boss Man comes up, he's just like, yep, and just gets into it. He doesn't even let Big Boss Man get out there, Steve.
Just pounces on them, and they start the match. And they're tussling in the arena, and eventually, not too long after the match starts, they take it out of the Target Center.
Yeah, and Road Dogg he's basically man on the streeting it now, where he's following them. JR and the King are just in the arena, and there's a camera on this action. They leave the arena, they go in the back, they fight in the back, they go out on the street. There's pedestrians walking around this. I thought this was insane. And they're brawling. They destroy like an outdoor patio at a local bar that's like across the street. And Road Dogg's the whole time, you can just hear his voice like, oh, goddamn. Yo, can I get 2 shots? Can I get 2 shots? He's like trying to order drinks and shit.
He's hilarious through this whole thing. And then they actually go into the bar and they get to tussling in that. They're throwing each other into tables, into the bar, and Al Snow quickly flirts with one of the ladies sitting at the bar.
Yeah, hell yeah. That was game. Hell yeah. Also, he just finds this one specific guy in the bar that just happens to have like a Tretch chain in his jacket, and he takes that and chokes out Big Boss Man for a little bit. But can I say that when I was watching this, I was like, well, this is a bar. Maybe these were like people that they hired, or they just were letting know this was going to happen. But because they were in front of these people like live on the street, like some of the punches that Big Boss Man hit Al Snow with and vice versa, I mean, it just looked like they were just throwing like straight up punches at each other, dude. Straight up, Steve.
Sometimes you let one slip.
I mean, Big Boss Man's bleeding. He's leaking a little bit. At one point, Road Dogg, who's trying to order a couple of shots, he's trying to get a brew at one point. He's watching this. He finds Big Boss Man's nightstick and he just cracks Boss Man with it just because. He's like, man, fuck all this.
Well, Boss Man, he turns around and hits him or says something to him.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Okay.
Oh, that's how you feel, motherfucker?
Wow. And then Al Snow, in the weirdest attack I've ever seen, takes 2 pool balls and just like hits fucking Big Boss Man's nuts with them. It didn't even look like it worked, but whatever. It was very cinematic.
And that's what gets him the win. He pins Boss Man on the billiard table, and then he makes a mad dash back to his Chihuahua Pepper, only to find Blue Meanie and Stevie Richards trying to electrocute the dog with some
They were fucking with it, but they catch he hits Stevie Richards, and Stevie Richards gives one of the most soap opera heavies, like, ah! Don't fuck with his dog, dude. Fuck all that.
Like, those two are comedic gold. Blue Meanie and Stevie Richards, I feel like they don't get enough props, man. I don't think they're Hall of Fame worthy as far as their characters, but they're funny nonetheless.
Yes, especially Steven Richards. He's great. I love that.
And then we get a short clip of Jesse talking to Mankind, and while he's trying to lay down the law for this main event, he just interjects like, "What did you think about Geraldine Ferraro?"
She's a bleeding heart liberal.
Bleeding heart liberal.
I'm a Navy SEAL. How dare you? But the next match, Steve, it's just not what I wanted, Steve, at all. It's Ivory versus Tori. And I just got to say, just sizing them up, I would say Ivory just looks like a chick that would beat you up in a bar and just like rip a butt. She just looks like a piece of white trash. Sorry,
she looks like the manager I had at Frickers back when I worked there, which is a sports bar in Perrysburg.
Is it?
Well, I don't know.
It was a male strip club. It was a male strip club, Steve. You can tell it was Frickers.
Velvet rope.
Well, fuck. Apparently there's some bad blood here. I don't know. I didn't even remember either of these chicks, to be completely honest with you. But a lot of sloppy wrestling in this, a lot of weird moves that don't quite pan out. A lot of hard titty slaps, though, too. A lot of just stiff chest slaps, which has to hurt when you have that much real estate.
Can always appreciate that. Yeah, I think Tori is the one that's not experienced. So Ivory's kind of guiding her along with this. And Tori gives this weak ass spear. Like, I always hate when people give weak spears. It's already overdone. So if you're gonna do it, give it some impact. Word to Rhino. Word to Goldberg. Shit.
Gore! I was just thinking a Rhino, dude. Hell yeah.
One of the best. He might be the best spear in all of spears.
But I do have to say that, whatever you have to say about the match itself, I think Ivory wins this, if I'm not mistaken. Or yeah, she does. But after whooping Tori's ass in whatever way she does, Ivory just has this insane thought to just rip her top off, and thank you.
Gotta get some pop for this.
But right before the puppies come out, Steve, one of our old friends pops out of nowhere, Luna Vachon. Nah!
Rita Repulsa.
She cock blocks Minnesota, Steve. So I don't get it. I don't know why she did that, but shout out Luna Vachon. I miss you.
R.I.P. to you. That was the only pot we would have got for this match, Luna. But it's good to see you back.
Yeah. Needed a paycheck, and that's another woman. You want to talk about a woman that'll whoop your ass and smoke a cigarette? She's right there at the top of that list.
Yeah, I don't even think I want problems with her, man. But this next clip is it's real short. It's a little vignette with Michael Cole and the Great One. Nice tie, 13 cents. Now, I've noticed, Michael Cole, have you been looking at The Rock lately? And I just got to ask, are you come see, come saw?
What a great term. Bring that back. Bring that back.
This is peak Rock to me. He's still got the Johnny Bravo. He's just dropping those one-liners like Rodney Dangerfield. And like as you're seeing throughout this, anytime he shows up, the Rock reaction is white hot. It's scorching.
It's a GS move he plays too, where he's backstage doing this interview, right? And this happened a lot. And he'll go into if you smell what the Rock is cooking, and if you smell, he stops. And then the audience, who he can't even see, finishes it, and he can hear that. And he doesn't even have to finish the shit. He just sniffs the air and fucking gives that little people's eyebrow. It's baller as fuck, dude.
And when he's like, and the millions, because he used to complete that, and millions, he just said the millions, and he just knew that they're gonna complete, because we did.
He's a hit, Steve.
Yeah, fuck, you want to be in the pictures, kid?
Yeah, right. But next up, it's a Lions Den match, and people say to yourself, "Is there a lion in this?" No. It's a cage where Steve Blackman's just hand-selected these martial arts weapons. God knows. It's just a bunch of bow staffs, let's be honest. They call it a bunch of different shit, but Steve Blackman's found his favorite little toys, and he's set up a little cage match with Ken Shamrock, a human psychopath who thrives getting punched in the face. So you say Steve Blackman's a dangerous person. He's the world's most dangerous man. What are his credentials for ass kicking where he's this dangerous?
Well, he did beat the fuck out of Bradshaw in that one story I mentioned, man, because Bradshaw was known for like fucking with the boys, man. Pause. He was like known for just being a ribber, as they call it, and just being an asshole to people. And Steve Blackman, for whatever reason, I guess because he kept to himself, he didn't want any problems with anybody. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna pick on this guy. So there was an issue at the airport. They're picking up their baggage, and Bradshaw did something with his bag, and he had already like poke jabs at Steve before, and he was like, hey man, like enough is enough. Like you can't keep doing that. And Bradshaw was just like, whatever. So at the airport, that was the final straw, and it took a group of these other big ass professional wrestlers to break them up and get Steve Blackman off of Bradshaw, who isn't built like a
Damn.
punk either. So to punk Bradshaw, I want to say he's about 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, he's a big fucking son of a bitch for sure. Well, in this match, they're locked in this. It's basically an octagon. It's just like a fight pit. Cage everywhere. Weapons you can climb up to get. And I didn't know the rules of this, but the rules are kind of stupid. Basically, you're locked in there, and all you got to do is whoop the shit out of somebody and just go, "Hey ref, open the door and walk out." That's how you win the match, dude. You know?
Yeah.
So that's what it is. And Steve Blackman, he's not only dangerous, great just he's got great ideas, I guess. I don't know how to better say it. He has some chucks that he just throws in his pants to wait for Ken Shamrock to come down, and he just starts chucking Shamrock as soon as they get into it, you know?
This match is like a Ninja Turtle character select screen. You want kendo, you want nunchucks, you want the samurai,
Yeah.
you want the size.
Well, I was sitting there thinking to myself, what, they throw some knives up there? What's going on here? No, it's just a bunch of kendo sticks, and they use them real quick, and then somebody will get slapped in the face, and they go kind of just like to the wayside. At one point, Steve Blackman's just like, he's just zeroing in on different stuff just to be like, and then Shamrock's just like, ah!
Like one cool thing Shamrock did in this match was the springboard off the cage. I thought that was pretty impressive, man. Like he ran into the cage, did like a flip, and
Yeah.
like landed on Blackman. But eventually Shamrock wins, man. I think you have to wait till your opponent is incapacitated or whatever, and then he climbs the cage and wins the match. And then up next, you have Kevin Kelly, and he's given the backstory to the whole Test and Shane McMahon beef. It's a love her, leave her match where Shane is fighting for the honor of the McMahon name and his little sister Stephanie. If I win, you can't date her anymore, and you can't call, you can't page her, you can't be driving by with the stereo in your hand outside of her bedroom window.
And they've worked Test over, Steve. They've injured him, and you could tell he's injured because he has a bandage wrapped around his tummy. He's got a little tummy ache. I never liked Test. I think Test is a Timu Kevin Nash.
Ooh.
Sure, you can step over the rope, Test. You could try to do what Big Daddy Cool does, but Kevin Nash, you are not.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but that clocks. And I think it's the name. It's a bland name, you know, and we were teenagers. The last thing we want to deal with is test anything, any kind of test. Hated tests.
As
And
a
that's your
40-year-old
name?
man, I'll take some tests. Not this kind of test, but props for getting Stephanie, because talk about some puppies, Steve. I don't want to be too direct here, but I always thought Stephanie McMahon was just voluptuous and beautiful and connected to just a dynasty. So that's pretty sexy too. But Test isn't really innocent in this because he's been going around just beating up the Mean Street Posse like redheaded stepkids. So all the Mean Street Posse, Joey Abs, the fat guy,
Rodney
you
Gas.
know, yeah, all those guys, they're all fucked up too. So Shane comes out, he's solo dolo. You think he's got nobody with him? I'm like, oh, that's sad. But then, right as he gets there, the boys show up, Steve.
With the Hawaiian shirts.
And just, they all have some sort of war injury. One of them has a broken leg or some sort of cast. They all have some sort of like bandage or cast on. And Shane was like, guys, and leads them down ringside to a VIP section with a couch. It's a whole living room set up, Steve, and I love that.
It's got a lamp and everything.
And some bubbly. Just a little bit of everything. A little fridge where you can put your Diet Cokes, something.
Hey, they're boys with the brass.
Yeah, dude. So they got the front row seat. and we get to it. And I got to say, just another thing: Shane McMahon is an anomaly to me because he doesn't need to do this. He doesn't even really need to like wrestling, to be honest. He's rich, okay? He's a rich kid.
You're an
He
heir
will
to the
come
throne.
out here. He's a brand ambassador. He's his father's son, and he is willing to do some of the craziest shit with his body for somebody he doesn't need to do it. If I was Vince McMahon, I'd be like, are you fucking crazy? I
But
did this so you didn't have to. I did all these roids so you didn't have to, man.
but we're talking Vince. He's probably eating this up like, yeah, bleed more, damn it. Bleed, you son of a bitch.
Jump
And
off
then-
something higher than that, you pussy.
Yeah, you can do better than that. Jump off the Titantron, you little berry boy.
I mean, and he did. This motherfucker was dude, we went to see them when I lived in LA. I shared the story. We saw the first SmackDown that they had on Fox. He fought some fat guy with a beard. I don't know
Kevin
who,
Owens.
maybe Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
They were putting ladders, spanning them from the ring to the audience, putting somebody on it. He jumped off the top rope, did what he did on the table in this match on that. Like, so he's still doing this stuff. But in this match, you know, is it a great match? No, but there's some great parts. Like when he jumps off the top rope, Test is on the Spanish announce table because they have to demolish that. And they do.
Yeah, and that was a crispy elbow drop. I thought it was a decent match, man. You know, he clocks Test with the picture frame, glass shattering everywhere. At some point, Test throws Shane into the posse. They all fall back. And, you know, since the boys are in the crowd, you know they're going to interfere. So, you know, one by one, Pete Cass, he hits Shane on accident with a sign trying to hit Test. And, you know, I like Shane's corkscrew moonsault. Even though he missed, that shit was still crispy.
Yeah, dude. He pulls it out. And so we get to a point here where Test is starting, like, the boys are starting to interfere. But then Test, there's some heroics on the other side too, Steve, because Stephanie's watching this. She's like, oh my God, my man. Oh,
She's
no. And then out of nowhere, Steve, out of the AARP catalog, Briscoe and Patterson come out and help Test out. They get the Mean Street Posse away. They whoop that ass. They're old school, Steve. They fight like this.
Yeah, put them up. You know, your young punk. What did Otis from Martin? Yeah, come on, your young punk.
Yeah, dude. And eventually Test throws the big boot. Again, Kevin Nash did it first. Gives a power slam. And then here's where I will give Test credit. The last thing he does in this match is jump 3/4 of the length of the ring to do an elbow drop off the top rope. So that's crazy for a dude his size. That's awesome.
Yeah, for somebody, I don't know if he's a 7-footer like Kevin Nash, but he's up there, 6'11". You're a power forward. Yeah, you're a power forward size in the NBA, and like you said, that elbow drop had some distance, man, and that's what got him the pin. And now Stephanie can see her boo.
Baby. So she comes out and celebrates, pats him on the ribs a little bit. She's like, we did it. And little do we know, Steve, that Test is just another one. He's going to get dropped like a bad habit because Triple H is waiting in the wings, just ready to hop on that train to Tuna Town. If you know what I'm talking about.
She's not your girl, bro. It's just your turn.
Yeah, exactly. But shout out to Test because he does long jump. For a guy that weight, that's crazy. And he pulled it off.
Yeah, man.
So next is a crazy one, Steve. So teams that I kind of forgot this happened, and obviously now seeing it, I remember it. But there's a tag team title match. Undertaker and Big Show, who are not the they're not the champions, which is crazy. The champs are Kane, which makes sense, but then X-Pac.
Yeah. I forgot how that pairing came about. Like, I think that once the DX thing broke up, I think that's what led to X-Pac working with Kane. But yeah, I got to check the archives for that. They give us the story.
I need a friend.
Yeah.
hey, but I think what it is, he's like Kane's pet, Kane's like a psychopath, and they just like threw him a little kitty. He's like has to pet.
And he needs somebody to talk for him. Paul Bearer, he's got Undertaker duty now. He went back to his original side, and Kane, he's not supposed to be doing a lot of talking. The one cool aspect about this tag team though is the pyro. They do the intro, and it goes from Kane, and then it cuts to the DX song, and then like when they get in the ring while X-Pac's doing his thing, the suck it chops, then Kane does his Inferno.
Is Kane a de facto member of DX, or is DX just gone at this point?
They split up completely at this point because I think Triple H, he's in with the brass and the corporate thing now. Road Dogg, he's solo doing the hardcore scene, and Billy Gunn, as we're going to see in this event, they're moving him up. Billy Gunn, he's getting pushed up on the cards, man. He was just named King of the Ring in '99, so that's where we are with DX now.
He's an ass man. But yeah, dude, Kane X-Pac Association. And this is a pretty fun match. Also, it's hilarious because X-Pac's like Little Mac in Punch Out, where he's just in there surrounded by giants, but he does his thing. I got to be honest with Sean Waltman actually holds his own a little bit.
Yeah, and that's to be expected in a match like this. He just gets ragdolled throughout, and it takes some professionalism to pull this off, man. He's already smaller than them, but he really sells these moves. Like when he tries to pin Taker and Taker just pushes him off, he flies up. He goes,
oh my God.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. And I also love that, like, because he'll get cocky and try to do shit. And then like Taker, like Big Show, just like put him in a fucking like bear hug or like do something big guys do. And then Big Brother Kane's always there to like get him out of it though. He just comes in and, hits him over the head or whatever. But I mean, this is fun. X-Pac even gets to do a little Bronco Buster on, I think it's Undertaker. Or is it the Big Show?
It was Big Show because immediately after he hits the Bronco Buster, Paul White is not a fan of that shit. So he immediately gets up. He was like, right when X-Pac turns around, choke slam, bitch. And then like he's about to finish and close out the deal. But Undertaker tags himself in, and he takes the hobbled X-Pac, gives him the tombstone, and he gets the pin. They're the new champs, and now you see some in-house fighting with Big Show and Taker. Like, dude, I was going to close the deal. Like, you didn't need to do that. Whatever. Rest in peace. Blah, blah, blah. Come on, Paul. Let's go.
Shut up, Paul. I had him, man. I think he even says that on the way out. That's what he says. He's like, come on, man. Paul Bear's like, come on, guys. We're all here to fuck some pussy now. Let's go do this. So now we're here, Steve. We're at a badass Billy Gunn Rock match. We didn't mention that after Rock's promo or somewhere in there, Billy Gunn snuck somebody under a cover and was like, he has some sort of shenanigans planned. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest. Right? Yeah, it was weird. But at the beginning of this match, I'll be honest. So fill me in. I had to start grilling. Okay. So I missed the beginning of the match. And I missed where this mystery guest came out. Did she come out with Billy Gunn, like in the entrance?
She came out with Billy Gunn, and, he makes the announcement that The Rock, if I win, he won't be kissing my ass. He's going to be kissing her ass. And he pulls off the sheet, and it gets little to no reaction from the crowd. Because we were expecting,
Mimi, dude.
Because you see the cankles. So, and the fact that he's keeping it under wraps, you're thinking it's somebody of renown, somebody that's a celebrity at least. Is it Dr. Ruth? Is it Mimi from Drew Carey? Like, it's somebody that like, it's just a big bitch in Minneapolis.
She's just there to hang out and get her ass eaten. So she's getting a tossed salad at some point. But
she's doing nothing salad.
Yeah, you're right. But so that's weird. But I love that. Billy Gunn's funny. He's got a funny theme song. But what I don't like about Billy Gunn is his insane tan and that weird like choker thing that he has on. That's like I've only ever seen women wear it, but it's just a weird look that he's cultivated. I don't like it.
Yeah, man. Love Billy Gunn, but he has done some questionable things from this era. And when The Rock comes out, oh my God, you would have thought it was Tupac resurrected.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you heard the pop, and you couldn't see his ass
Yeah.
when he comes into the arena. It's like the Beatles showed up, dude. There's people are passing out. There's little fat Minneapolis kids that are just like gushing to see this guy. It's a whole thing, Steve.
Optimal Rock, man. Like I will die on this hill shouting, this is the best version of Dwayne Johnson, man. Like I get it, the final boss, that stuff's kind of cool. When he came back and did the Hollywood thing with, fresh off Fast and Furious, that was cool or whatever. But man, this right here, oh, head and shoulders above the rest.
I agree. His new thing, like the end boss thing, it is cool. I like it, but yeah, obviously this is it, dude. This is Pinnacle Rock. But this isn't to say anything about Billy Gunn in this because he puts on he holds his own in this, and he's got some cool moves. He's got the famouser, Steve. He's got the little famouser move. He pulls that off.
The famous that always looked like it hurt for both parties, like between the legs and like you could fuck somebody's neck up if you do it wrong.
Well, I mean, plus you take a face shot directly into the mat if he hits it wrong. Like you're just nose first into the mat. So yeah, but also I just think it's hilarious. This guy had to come out to that song. I can never bring it up enough because it's just so weird. But
I can touch him. I can lick them. I can fry them. Wait, you be frying ass?
I can stick it. I can lick it. Yeah, dude. But at one point, Steve, Billy Gunn gets Mimi into the ring when Rock's like sort of hurting, pulls this woman's dress up, and just treats Minneapolis to just the biggest mom ass that with those like gross tights that moms wear where it's just like it's not sexy and they're ripped. Yeah. And it just looked like a cheesy smell was coming off of it, but Rock ain't eating that ass, Steve. There's a lot of ass he'll eat, but not that one.
Yeah, and that's why he reversed that move because he came to when he smelled that mush. Should have had a dush. He got a whiff of that, and he was like, "No, jabroni." He reversed it, and now he's putting Billy Gunn's face into that.
Yeah, Billy Gunn takes a full dose of rectum straight. I mean, this is the Rikishi effect, Steve. This is why I never wanted any of it. Like, if I was a wrestler that had to do that, no. I'm not getting pink eye, and I'm not getting whatever the fuck's just growing in there. So, but he's taking it for the team, Steve. Billy Gunn, he's a gamer, and he's an ass man. So, and he's got what he wanted, apparently. That's he's there. I will lead it. I will treat it.
Once he got that face smear of ass, rock bottom, ho. And then that wasn't enough. After he hits that rock bottom, people's elbow, it's a must.
You have to, dude. You got to do the hits. He has hits now. It's like Hulk Hogan. You got to do the big boot, follow with the leg drop. That just is what it is. That's what we need.
Formula. Yeah.
But so The Rock smells something. Billy Gunn definitely is smelling something after this. Yeah. But The Rock, he's the proprietor of the Miss New Booty Motel, and Billy Gunn needs to go get a handy wipe and just really sanitize that face. Do you think he hit it, though? Do you think somebody hit that?
Oh, I bet Paul Bearer would it.
Oh, hey, you look lonely.
You come here often?
And I love JR too. King would usually throw out the fat jokes, but JR throws a zinger at this where somebody says that, see that crack? And JR's like, that's not a crack, that's the Grand Canyon. I mean, so
Damn.
I love that, dude. JR got one in. But shout out to the chick also, because she was in it, dude. She liked it. She was having fun, you know?
She knew she was signing up for fat jokes. And up next is the granddaddy of them all, the main event, triple threat WWF Championship match with Triple H, Mankind, and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I'm Jesse the Body as the
That's
ref.
special. Yeah, this is special.
You will listen to the governor. You will obey me. No chair shots. Nothing. Fucking
Talking
Jesse,
about
dude, you were the king of the fucking shenanigans. So what the fuck? Why
Dude.
you gotta get all straight laced with us, Jesse?
And another huge pop because he is the governor of Minnesota at this time, man. And you could tell Ventura is trying to fight back tears of joy. Like
Hell
people, like they
yeah.
love me. They really they really like me. Oh shit, man! I'm
He
supposed to
got
be
to
a
do a
badass.
couple moments with the because there was a moment where he was supposed to like he refused to like do a count, and everyone's like, yeah, and he's just going around like, hell yeah.
I'm the
But
shit.
he does come out. I don't know if it was now, but he's like, Minnesota, everybody thinks I'm a joke for coming here, but I'm a wrestler through and through. And I love it. I'm proud to be a wrestler. I'm proud to be here tonight. So shout out to Jesse for fucking saying fuck to all the hate, the naysayers and the haters out there.
And the crowd
Hell
ate
yeah.
all of that up, dude. Like I'm with that, man. Like don't forget your background. Don't forget where you came from, man. And it took some pulling of the strings because Jesse sued Vince back in the day before this. So I mean, obviously they came to some terms where, hey, man, you're not as big of a piece of shit as I thought. So hey, I'll do this business with you.
Give me that Foot Locker uniform shirt. I'm putting it on right now. So he's there. He's manning the ref spot. Mankind, Stone Cold, Triple H. It's a 3-way match, Steve. It's a menage match. And, there's no friends here, really. Everybody's kind of just playing their own part, but I do like Mankind coming in, and he's just trying to, like, get down with everybody. He lets a couple people kick somebody in the ass, and he'll wait. And then he's like, wait, let me get in here, too, and just fucking throw a couple.
Yeah, they do double team Triple H at first, but after a while, Stone Cold and Mankind, they go at it. And at some point, China, she comes down. And I like this version of China. At this point, she's femmed up. Them titties are tittying. And she got,
they're tittying, Steve.
And she got some cakes, too.
I mean, that's what Kendra was in the room, and I was like, I gotta say, like, I realized the genetic, like, insanity of her muscles and stuff. But this China, like you said, when they chiseled that chin down a little bit and obviously did a little work here too, yeah, man, for sure. Sean Waltman got a pass at that. And then it's so crazy to me, her downward spiral, where at the end of it, I don't want to go too far into it, but she was just doing straight up pornos.
Yeah.
But, beautiful chick. Beautiful chick at this point. I will say it, Steve.
On the inside too, man. They said she was a sweetheart, had a beautiful spirit, and but in this match, Jesse tells her to get to the back because she knows she just comes to cause destruction, which I always appreciate about China.
I don't trust you, China. Get back there. Find the documents. But she's out, Steve. No interference. No interference here. He's a stickler. And also in this match, Triple H is going heavy on Stone Cold's knees. He's using which I always thought this looked crazy, and I feel like even if you pull it off perfectly, it's got to hurt a lot. When you pull a guy's leg, pull his like legs so it's being divided by the post, and slam it. I know they're faking it, but like, how does your knee not accidentally bump it or something? It just looks awful.
Like, how does it not snap?
Yeah, but he's going to town on Stone Cold's knees, and everybody knows. You can see it in the photo. This guy's always got a knee brace on. He's got weak knees.
And Triple H and Mankind, they jump Stone Cold at one point, but that breaks up, and Mankind, he gets a stunner, but as he's about to pin him, Triple H cracks him with the chair, and as he tries to do, I think he tries to give the pedigree. I think Mankind, he interferes.
Yeah, and this is a great crowd moment because he turns around. Obviously, Triple H has like slid the chair away, and Jesse's like, "Did you hit him with a chair? Did you hit him with a chair?" And Triple H's like, "What are you talking about? What?" And then the crowd's like saying something, and Jesse's like, "Why are they telling me you hit him with a chair?" And Triple H is indignant, like, "Come on, man, fucking pin this. I'm pinning him. You gotta fucking count this." And Jesse's like waddling. He might as well be smoking a cigarette, Steve. He's wasting time.
Yeah, you can't hit Mankind with the chair right in front of me and expect me to give you a clean count. It's like, nah, man. The crowd says no, I say no, and the crowd fucks with me. I refuse to give you a count. But now Shane, he comes down and let him know who the real boss is. I'm the boss's son, and I say you do what a referee's supposed to do. You give him a count. It's like,
we're paying you.
Yeah,
Shut
Stone Cold
up.
overhears this, and he's just like he gives him a Stone Cold stunner, and he directs Jesse to be like, "Hey, get this son of a bitch out of here." So Jesse, he takes him by the head and just yeets him out of the fucking ring.
That gets a pop. And also, Stone Cold and Jesse the Body Ventura look like brothers now at this point, so that's pretty cool. They're coming together on that in that way. But how does this match end, Steve? Because doesn't Mankind win the match?
Well, yeah, after Shane, that fiasco, Mankind pulls out Sacco. They both get the claw. Triple H kicks him in the nuts, and he attempts to give a pedigree, but Austin stops that. And then Triple H gets the stunner, but Mankind, he breaks up the pin. I think Stone Cold, he gets the pedigree, but then Mankind, he double arm DDT Stone Cold, and that's what gets him the pin.
And he's now the champion?
He's the champion for one day because I think he drops the strap to Triple H the following day, which is even crazier. Like, why not just give it to him that night?
Yeah. But I do love because Jesse the Body, he's like raising the arm. He couldn't get to the back faster, though. As soon as this match is over, he's sweating profusely. He's walking back with Mankind, Mick Foley. And I do think it was pretty cool, too. It seemed like they were just like, he was sharing, like, just like, congrats, man. Like, they were just like sort of buddies a little bit, you know? But he looked very tired, and I was like, damn, it's not even like a minute after this match is over. He's already disappearing in the back. Like, I got to get to the governor's mansion. Give me the dossier.
Yeah. I left this world a long time ago. And, you know.
Dude, it's it. And then, but here's the other thing, Steve. This has lasting ramifications because Triple H is pissed off. He takes that chair and starts fucking beating the shit out of fucking Stone Cold's legs like they're redheaded stepkids. And Stone Cold, does he take a hiatus after this?
He does, I believe. He doesn't return until maybe the following year. But he does take a hiatus. And while that's going on, China keeps the refs out. But I think everybody was expecting either Triple H or Stone Cold. It's like people liked Mankind. We were fans of Mick Foley, but I think he was the least likely expected to come out on top, man, in this triple threat match because, like, the reaction, it was for a main event at SummerSlam, like somebody gets a pin, like you either hear a loud boo or a loud yay. I think it was pretty medium.
Yeah, and for a title change, not even just the finality of a match, like the title change. And so I agree with you. It wasn't like, yeah, you know, he did his thing and he left and he got his arm raised again by Jesse, like right before they went back. But I agree with you. That is kind of weird. But you know what? This was a great pay-per-view. I didn't expect much. I didn't remember this, but damn. Even the damn hardcore match with Road Dogg, they should have done that every opportunity they had because that was amazing.
I think they just ran it into the ground because it was just becoming too much, man. It's like, all right, we're in the locker room fighting, we're in the restroom fighting. It's like, you know, you're running out of places.
No, I'm saying have Road Dogg do color commentary for the rest of forever after this. It was so good, dude.
It's like Snoop Dogg. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, dude, like, hey man, let's fly you to Paris. Like, we like hearing you talk about things while action is going on.
You're
For sure.
entertaining. You're gold. So yeah, shout out to Road Dogg, the
We
silent
love it.
star of this, even though he was not even on the card at all. I love it. Hell yeah, dude.
Can't get
Rocket.
enough
What is
attention.
that move called? What did you call it?
I call it the shiggity diggity.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's a good name for it. Hell yeah.
But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or canker sores?
Just another shout. Anybody who hasn't seen Money Talks, just go see it. Maybe you think it's a shitty movie because it's got Charlie Sheen in it. It's not. It's great. And then my other uh, side, hold on, we're almost done. My bad. Is I saw this movie this weekend called Dee Dee. It's a smaller movie that came out. It's like a coming of age movie about this Asian kid growing up, just being a teenager and like all the shit that happens when you're a teenager. But this movie specifically captured like what I remember from our teenage years of like instant messenger, like AIM, and like the just intensity of the emotion you would get whenever you were chatting with somebody online, or like those things that we were doing in like the late 90s where like you were like throwing a game at a girl on instant messenger and just like you'd hear that bling and just like the noises and stuff. It captures that great, and it captures that how much of a douchebag you feel as a high school kid, that you're not fitting in the way you think. It's a great movie, and I would highly recommend it to anybody that gets a chance to see it. Didi, Didi. It's very good.
Just came out.
It just came out. It's a limited release movie. I saw it at like an art house movie place that we go to that shows smaller movies. And if you can't see it in the theater, you should, but if you can't, definitely check it out whenever you have the ability to, because if you like just those like, coming of age movies where kids are getting embarrassed by stuff and like trying to meet girls, it's a great 90s kid, especially for guys, movie. It's just a little Asian kid who's just trying to just do something in high school, and it captured that, especially for somebody like me that felt kind of like a douchebag a lot. Even though I wasn't, it's just about that. It's about all that shit. So check it out.
Yeah, you feel like one, even if you're not one. I can resonate with that, man. I got three things. R.I.P. to Peter Marshall. We lost him over the week. He was the original host of Hollywood Squares, and he was a part of other productions too. Born in Clarksburg, West Virginia, and he died at the age of 98, which that's buku.
Damn.
Yeah, that's buku bonus points, man. I always say you make it past 70, that's bonus round. And also, RIP to Afa Anoa. I could never pronounce the Rock's family's name right, but he was one of the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika. And Sika, his brother, who was a part of that tag team, he just recently passed about a month or two ago. So I'm sure that had some kind of impact on them. They were always together. Whenever you see them, they have like a legend celebration night. They're always together. It's Offensika, the Wild Samoans, man. So RIP to them. And Christopher McDonald, this is a little maybe irrelevant fun fact, but on this day, August 22nd, Leave It to Beaver premiered in theaters in 97, and he played the dad, Ward Cleaver. Yeah,
Okay.
and Christopher McDonald, he was also in another movie that seems shitty that we didn't probably want to cover, is A Smile Like Yours. So he came out in two movies. He appeared in two movies that came out in 97, Leave It to Beaver and A Smile Like Yours. Christopher McDonald is more famously known as Shooter McGavin. Shooter.
Hell yeah. Shooter. I saw two big fat naked bikers off in the woods off 16 having sex in the woods. How am I supposed to putt with that going on? That was a good line read, Steve. That was a great line read.
That was flawless.
Yeah.
Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister, black coat, white shoes, black hat, Cadillac, yeah, a bitch, a stupid bitch. Check out Food Show Fanatics and Crushgasm with Kendra G every Wednesday, as well as Clark the Shark, our guy on Podcastle. This is Steve G and Mad G with
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s.